Welcome back, all you Fabricants and Fleshbags, to the super, not funny show, Supercast. The Supercast, where we talk about all things superhero in our pop culture media, and that's TV shows, movies, video games. We talk about news, do some speculation, all that good nerdy stuff. I am Ode Poupe, your resident fabricant and comic extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend Ladi. Ladi, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, man. Like I said earlier, I had this massive mosquito in my apartment. Pimp slapped it to oblivion, but accidentally took down one of my shingles. So that was the reason why I was late to the stream.
Yeah, it's Florida. Mosquitoes don't ever go away. They come inside. So, but it's Thanksgiving week, y'all. If you're in America, it's Thanksgiving week. So, the holidays are upon us. Black Panther had its second weekend, number one at the box office again. Black Friday is going strong. Lottie, I don't know about you, but I partook of some of the Black Friday goodness. Uh, even
Definitely did.
even though I don't have any money, but I partook because I love Blu-rays and shit like that. And I'm telling you, I got a haul over here. I got the Batman, Spider-Man, No Way Home, Shang-Chi, Black Widow, Dune, the Suicide Squad, Spider-Man, the OG Spider-Man trilogy, uh, and the Matrix Resurrections and Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm living the high life over here with my Blu-rays. Yeah, so I'm feeling good about all of that. But anyway, we're here to talk about superhero stuff going on in the news and everything. And this week it's not a huge week, but we got some interesting things to cover. Like Blade seems to be back on track because now it's got a new director and a screenwriter. Great. We will talk about the passing of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers legend Jason Frank. There's a shakeup over at Disney. Bob Chapek is out. Bob Iger is back as CEO. Then we're gonna do some nerd. We're gonna do a nerd fight. We're gonna talk about Black Panther versus Black Adam, and we're also going to talk about Black Adam. Why it's gonna lose money. So why didn't it hit? And then we're gonna go and rank the Marvel Phase 4 movies. So, all that good stuff. Lottie, you ready to go?
Yeah.
Let's get to it. Well, you guys all remember, we talked about this probably, was it last month or a month and a half ago? Blade, its director, suddenly quit. And also, there was rumors about like the script not being up to par, and they're just like, it's in a tailspin. Oh no, are we going to get Blade? I'm sure Mahershala Ali's like, bitch, I'm not getting younger. So we were wondering what are they going to do about that. Well, it seems that I guess Kevin Feige and the brain trust over at Marvel got it in gear because they have now announced a new director and a new screenwriter to kind of fix up the situation. It seems that the screenwriter is, and I don't know if I'm pretty sure I'm not saying this name right, so whatever. It's Yann Demange, who's a French-born director, and the thing I know him for, I don't know anything else, but he did Lovecraft Country. He directed the pilot of Lovecraft Country, which is pretty great. If you haven't watched this on HBO, it's a kind of a Lovecraftian horror thing mixed with racial politics and shit. It's pretty cool. So that's who the new director is going to be of the movie, and they've got like I said, a new screenwriter. Let me see if I got his name. Let me get his name right. I can't find it here in the thing, but Starbury is the guy's last name. Don't know anything about him, but you know what? I assume that he's got something under his belt. So, Lottie, great news. Am I right? we want Blade. We want Blade, and we want it to be good. And it's production's supposed to start in Atlanta and sometime next year, and its release date is September 6, 2024. All right, you hear this news. What do you think?
Damn. It's about damn time. Cause man, listen, I was, I'm not gonna lie, I was getting a little, I was having that sinking feeling that this movie might get canceled. I was really getting that sinking feeling, but it seems like they're finally getting it right. So, yeah. Uh, hmm. What
Yeah,
you about to
I
say?
was gonna say Michael Starbury. That is the new
Is the
uh,
new name?
that's the new screenwriter,
Yeah.
who's apparently had wrote got an Emmy nomination for an episode of the
Yeah,
When They
the
See Us.
Lovecraft Country.
Well,
Yeah.
I was saying that the screenwriter for When They
Oh
See
yeah,
Us,
when
which
they
is
see us. Yeah.
something I haven't seen, but apparently it was good. So there you go. That we got two new faces on here. We don't know anything else about them other than that, except that they are moving forward. So yay. Um, I don't know. We'll let you guys know more about it when we get more information. Let's talk about a passing, an unfortunate, very untimely, and very much too young passing of what I would call a nerd legend. Is that fair to say? Is that fair to say a nerd
Hmm.
legend? Uh,
Yes.
Going all the way back to, I want to say, what was 93, maybe 92, 93, something like that. The Power Rangers first premiered, and Jason Frank was the Green Ranger, a legend. Let me just say, within Power Rangers, a legendary figure. He's been in and out of the Power Rangers series since then, because Power Rangers, it never stopped. But he's been in and out. He's been the White Ranger, all that stuff. True martial arts pedigree, was just kind of on another level within the show, and a fan favorite, everything like that. And was unfortunately died over the weekend. And I want to say, was it suicide? Am I right about that?
Yeah, it's been confirmed. Unfortunately,
Yeah, he took his
it was
own life.
suicide.
And man, this year, I swear, this year for losses within the nerd space and comic books and everything like that, it's been pretty ridiculous. We just talked about Kevin Conroy last week. This week, it's Jason Frank, and I'm gonna admit I don't know anything he did outside of Power Rangers, and I'm not a huge Power Rangers like fan. I used to be when I was a kid, but I'm not anymore. But by all accounts, good guy, was at conventions and everything. People loved him. I've seen a lot of people who knew him personally or had met him or whatever talking about him. So it sucks. I'm just gonna say it straight up sucks. 49 years old, way too young. So Ladi, you heard about this. How did you feel when you saw this, and what are your thoughts about Jason Frank?
And you know they come in threes, unfortunately. Yeah. You know what I mean, what I'm referring to. Every time there's, famous people, they always come in threes. And last week it was Kevin Conroy, and now this week, man, as a 90s kid, this is tough, man. It's been a tough 2 weeks, man. This is my childhood. Kevin Conroy and him were big, huge parts of my childhood. His his Tommy was the reason why I loved Power Rangers. I loved Power Rangers because of Tommy. Green with Evil is one of the greatest arcs in not just Power Rangers, in just nerddom. Because it was such it's something that's been copied so many times in anime, in comic books, and so many things over. You know what I mean? It is such, man. And like you said, he was doing his own stunts. He was constantly an ambassador for the Power Rangers, especially when Power Rangers started making its comeback with its comic book, the video game, and we're going to get a Power Rangers anime soon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he was going to voice the Green Ranger. It's
Yeah.
oh man, I just I wish he could have talked to somebody, man, about what he's going through. He didn't have to go through this alone because oh man, we could have talked him off the ledge because this like I said, like I'm, and this is not me just going up for the crowd. I grew up on Power Rangers. Power Rangers was my Saturday morning, and him going struck me like a brick when I got to my apartment yesterday. I couldn't believe it because I saw the man who played the Green Ranger passed away. I was like, wait, hold up, this got to be a hoax. Because nobody, like no big company was talking about it. But then I started seeing big YouTubers started talking about it. I'm like, I don't know, man. May your soul rest in peace, man.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I think it isn't even just like a sudden illness, just like taking your own life, and that that happened with that happened with musicians earlier in the year. So there, I mean, this it's always unfortunate because you always wonder like how could this have been prevented? Who what who could have reached out and whatever. And I'm sure people who personally knew him are feeling that way right now. Like maybe if only I had texted or called or hadn't had taken his call or something. Who knows? But we can't really spend our time second guessing ourselves about that. But we do just need to celebrate what he meant. And to Power Rangers fans worldwide. I mean, which I'd say worldwide, because Power Rangers started out as just an American thing, right? Remember, it just started. It was just they repackaged some Japanese stuff, and then they do some, some, relatively cheap American unknown actors, and somehow it exploded and was interesting, and and I think mainly if it hadn't been for the Green Ranger, hadn't been for Jason Frank Tommy, no way that it would be what it is now. Like
No, no.
without a doubt, the entire Green Ranger, being a turncoat, and then being a bad guy, and then turning into the White Ranger and all that stuff, that is a legendary storyline. That even if you don't know much about Power Rangers, you definitely know about the Green Ranger being a bad guy and turning into a good guy and having his own Zord and all that cool stuff. And then his actual skill as a martial artist made it possible for them to not just take that reused footage from Japan, but actually have the kids out of uniform fighting, doing stuff, and he sold it. And I mean, like I said, legendary. I would say he goes down. He obviously goes down in history, no matter what happens with Power Rangers going forward, as the most popular, the most well-known Ranger that exists.
Yes.
And it's not even close. So we hate to see him passing, and we celebrate his work, and we just have to have our good memories of him. So rest in peace, Jason Frank, and we do thank you for everything that you gave to us. Moving on to our next thing. This is a little this is happier news, and it was also this was I would say equally surprising to me. Found out yesterday, and you got my text, Lottie, about it. That huge shakeup at Disney. Huge shakeup at Disney. Bob Chapek, the CEO, is out. Bob Iger, former CEO, the CEO before him, back in. It's time to right this ship, if you will. The last couple years of Chapek being CEO of Disney have been rough. Is that fair to say, Lottie? Been rough.
Yeah, it's been rough.
They've been doing, first of all, they've been doing Pixar dirty. They've been doing Pixar dirty. Like not really releasing anything. The only thing that they put out for Pixar in the theater was Lightyear, and they barely even wanted to put that out.
Yeah.
So they've been doing Pixar
And they
hella
did,
dirty.
and the marketing for that movie tanked that movie because people thought the movie was woke when it wasn't. It was not woke, but they marketed it to be woke,
Well,
Dang,
no,
God.
the marketing for it was bad in the sense that they didn't differentiate and say this is not a Toy Story movie.
Yes.
That should have been like this isn't a Toy Story movie. Just to understand. Um, but beyond that, the stupid ass ideas like Black Widow going to streaming on the same day as it releases in theaters. Um, they're him saying that fuck animation essentially. You know what I'm saying? Just a bunch of stuff like that. Getting into a lawsuit with Scarlett Johansson. There's just a ton of stupid things. Not to mention stuff that we don't personally, you know, cross over with, like the parks and all that stuff. Um, that's it's. Let's just say has not been a great 2 years with him at the head. And apparently the board of Disney agreed and they fired him and said Bob Iger is coming back. He's coming back to right the ship, as I said. And to which I say yes. Thank God. We've been sort of shit talking Chapek for a hot minute, mainly because of what's going on with Marvel. Not that he had it. It's the man's not over there, signing off on Marvel projects. That's not his job. But man, he's sort of been putting people in place to interfere on some decision making with Marvel. Like I said, with Black Widow, among other things. And as far as I'm concerned, it's some of the best damn news I've heard for Disney in a while. I mean, at least Star Wars. The people at Star Wars or Lucasfilm are probably like yes, and the people at Pixar are definitely like hell yeah. And I think the animation, may be feeling better. But also, let's understand that this is all about money, because Disney stock price and everything, shareholders not happy with the way things are rolling, and they are still gonna. And he announced cuts and everything. There definitely gonna be some more of that under Iger. So all is not well, but hopefully they'll be in the right direction. Ladi, I texted you. What was your response to me when I texted you about this?
Thank.
You're like, what? Let me see if I can read it. Let me read this exactly. You said, "Amen,"
Yep.
in all caps. It's a religious revelation to you. So, all right, just so you saw this, what do you think?
Listen, you just explained it all. The dude got off to a terrible foot. I mean, I clearly remember when we were sitting here going like, "Wait, what are they doing with Black Widow? What? Wait, and he's not. Oh boy, he don't want to pay his actors. He is just, ooh boy. He and we you didn't talk about how you don't want to pay some of the writers, the people
Mm-mm.
who created characters. The dude,
Well, that's a Disney problem in general. That's not
yeah,
Chapek. Chapek isn't like special when it comes to that. They've been screwing people
no,
left and
yeah,
right, but
yeah,
yeah. But he continued it, so yeah.
man, it's crazy that all this had to go down. It's and like you said, I'd never want to, say thank God someone lost their job. But hey, man, the man's probably he got one big ass safety net. It probably threw a fat wad at him, even though he didn't probably want to leave his job. They probably threw $10 million to get the fuck out. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Hmm.
He's doing fine, guys.
Yeah.
He's not sleeping. He's not worrying about his next meal. He's
Yeah.
doing just fucking fine. And to be honest with you, he's probably still going to work at Disney. He's just going to take another job. You know what I mean? So, but his leadership has been very questionable. He this was a good move. It's time to move on and get better leadership in there. Unfortunately, the guy who wanted to enjoy his early retirement, he can't. He was probably sitting down on the beach just chilling. And then Mickey's like, "Get your ass back to work." Wait, what's going? Wait, what's going on? Iger's probably Iger. What?
I,
Get your ass back to work.
well, what's that's I can just imagine that, but he's been actually I have to say, Iger's been kind of hanging around. He's like that guy that gets fired, but he keeps showing up. He just kind of like showing up in the lobby anyway.
Hey,
Just
hey, do you
he didn't
guys
get
miss me yet?
he didn't yeah he didn't get. I mean, he didn't get fired, but he like I'm retiring. I'm like, why are you still at work though? Because he was on the board of Disney for about a year after that, and then he was off the board. He's been hanging around, and I'm not surprised at this. I think it's kind of. I will have to say though, I'm a bit concerned. Like Bob Iger, yes, he's been involved with a lot of success with his one of his biggest success being the Disney Plus. But I have a concern about this desire to go backwards. Not to say that that Iger is going to be bad or whatever. Like I said, he's had some significant success under his leadership. They got Marvel and billion-dollar movies and all that other stuff. But I wonder what this says about where the Disney board where their heads are at as far as the health of the company and what kind of leadership they want. Do they want bold leadership? I don't know about that. I feel like they're turtling up right now.
Yeah,
If I have to be honest.
I completely agree. Like I'm not you heard what I said, and I still repeat this. New leadership. You know,
Hmm.
they need new leadership, not going back to the way things were. You need to get somebody new, young, innovative, probably, but
Not at Disney. I mean, I'll tell you, their shareholders they're so dang skittish about this shit. I mean, I will say that Iger is probably going to he's going to be able to be a lot more opinionated because he's an old hand at it. And he's probably going to be a lot, and he's got a much better relationship with talent. He knows how to glad hand them, if you will. And people are going to have a lot more trust in him because he's got proven, leadership at the company. I just wonder again. He's notoriously against R-rated stuff, and it makes sense for the brand. I get it. It makes sense for the brand, but the truth is that once Disney bought Fox, this whole we can't do R-rated shit was needs to go the fuck away. Like for real. Once you have Fox, there's no R-rated shit. You got to change your mind about that. So is he going to stick with that, especially when it comes to the MCU? Uh, who knows? I'm going to say probably. But they do have Deadpool coming out. But I think Deadpool is an exception, and he's going to be the only exception.
hope Blade is not PG-13.
Well, it's going to be. I guarantee you, it'll be PG-13.
Oh, Jesus.
So this what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. While we're being like, yay, Chapek's gone, you got to remember the guy that's coming back. What's he like? Yes, he gets W's, but is he going to get W's in the way that moves in essence, to put it in sports ball talk? Did they get a coach that's for the next 20 years, or did they get the coach for the next 5 years? Or 4 years,
Yeah.
or 3. Did they get a coach for the champion to try to get a championship this next year and then dismantle and rebuild the team, or did they get a coach to build a dynasty? And
This is the right to ship. This is
this
the right to ship.
this doesn't feel like a dynasty pick. This feels like a let's try to hurry up and get a ring pick. So
Yeah,
I
this
don't
is
know.
like let's right the ship. Let's just put out the fires, and then you can go back to your let me do it back in my Mickey voice. So put out the fires, and after that, you can go back to your damn island.
Oh man, Moneybags Mickey. He's
Money back, Mickey. Money
Moneybag
back.
Mickey. He didn't like that stock drop, not at all. So, well, interesting news. We're gonna keep an eye on this. I'm sure there's gonna be some. Honestly, I expect some actual, news and movement to happen at the start of the year. I think the last 6 weeks of the year are really going to be uh, just kind of stopping the leaks, and then after that, it's going to be like let's move the ship forward. So we gonna see Iger's back. Hopefully, it's for the good. So now it's time for we're going away from news. So I think that there's not a whole lot of other news going on, but maybe we missed something. Maybe you just wanted us to talk about something else, or you have something to say about what we were talking about. Get down to the comment section, leave your thoughts there. And you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. All right, so it's time for this is more of our commentary slash just fun stuff part of the show. We don't get to do this that often because there's usually a lot of news, but this week we got 3 things, and the first one we're gonna do is we're gonna do a nerd fight, first ever on the Supercast nerd fight. Usually Ladi and I are in agreement on things. It's very rare that we disagree about anything related to superhero stuff. But I had to do this because I saw something. I saw blasphemy on Twitter, and I couldn't let it stand. And the blasphemy is my good friend Ladi agreeing with a bad take. So here it is, the take, and I'm not gonna quote it, but someone's basically saying that Black Adam's better than Wakanda Forever. So we're gonna nerd fight this, Ladi. But you say you agree,
let me explain.
You agreed with it. Wait, you agreed with it. So now it's time to defend yourself. How dare you,
Let
sir? How
let me
dare
explain. Let me explain. So that's my cousin, by the way.
you? Mhm.
So I was just waking up in the morning, and I thought it read, I liked Black Adam more than Wakanda Forever. And I said, I agree. But then later when I saw your reply, and then I saw, oh shit. I was like, well, I'm not.
For context, there was some little more back and forth between me and the original post. The
Yeah,
post.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. That's my cousin. She's gonna defend her take. I thought here's the thing. I did like Black Adam more than I like Black Panther. But I'm not gonna sit here and say Black Adam was a better movie. I do retract that statement. Because like I said, I literally just woke up and it was the first thing I looked at because, you know, she's trying to start her own little uh channel sort of like this
Mhm.
where she talks about like nerd culture and everything. So our thing came up and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna give my cousin a little shout out. So I should have read the whole thing. I was like I said, I'm half asleep. So when I saw it, I was like, wait, and I finally actually looked at it, I was like, oh boy. But I'm like, I'll
I'm a,
just keep it. I'll just keep
I'm
it.
just gonna say, your cousin is lucky I was at work, and I couldn't sit there and go at it. And I said, I was like, look, if you liked it better, that's fine. You like what you like, but I cannot, I will not stand by and hear anyone say that Black Adam's better than as a better movie. It's not. It's there in no at no point, no way, shape, or form is Black Adam a better movie. You may have liked it more, which plenty of people like things that are not better. Like, to put it in perspective, I I really wanted to ask, in what aspect is this movie better? Like, give me one part of the movie. One part, like, is it acting better? Because it's not. Is it
The
is is
only
is
the
it
only
filmed
thing I
better? Is it filmed better? Nope, I don't. I didn't see that. I mean, was the story better? The story of Let me say this: the story of Black Adam. The best thing about it is it's simple as shit. But it's not a bit. Like, the story itself is so fucking simple that it tries to introduce some interesting, like, themes or whatever, and then just abandons them in favor of punching and lasers and super speed. It doesn't actually resolve. Like, does it ever resolve anything? It doesn't even resolve the Intergang thing, really. It just sort of implies it. There's some, like, the storytelling in that, and not only that. You know what? Wakanda Forever doesn't have that Black Adam does have? An annoying
But
ass fucking character. There's no annoying character, and there's no annoying character that you wish wouldn't get less screen time in Wakanda Forever, but there certainly is one in Black Adam. So, I mean, I could go on. Like, but Angela Bassett on her own is a better, is outacts every single performance in Black Adam. The Winston Duke outacts everyone and he, M'Baku's barely in the movie, and he outacts everybody else. Uh, what's his name? Tenoch Huerta is a better anti-hero. His Namor is a better anti-hero than Black Adam is, because he's got a real fucking motivation. What the fuck was Black Adam motivation except leave me the hell alone? I'm telling you, I could keep going, like point by point. If anyone wants to tell me that one movie's better than the other, I'm like, again, you can like them better. I could see how you could like it better. It's a lot more immediate. It's less to think about in one movie over the other. But just like I can't find any one point at which there's actually Black Adam is superior. Maybe it's a little funnier. I don't know. So anyway, that's my argument.
yeah, and I completely understand. Like I said, it definitely is not. The only thing that I would say, like, Black Adam, like, it just had a Chad. That was it. That's really it. It had a Chad, and
Right.
that's it.
And mind you, I like Black Adam a lot. That's the thing, is I like Black Adam a lot, but I just like I know superior filmmaking when I see it,
Yeah.
and that just, I mean, yeah, both of them were clearly, there's a lot of green screen shit, but man, there was a lot of real location stuff in Wakanda, and it looks great. The costumes are better, locations are better. The fantastical elements are more interesting. There's so much going on in Wakanda Forever that's more imaginative and it's more, dare I say, down to earth. Like the storytelling
Okay.
is more down to earth, and I mean,
Okay. I want to put this out here, and you can thank me later. Imagine Viola Davis character and Queen Ramonda in the same room together. Just imagine that. Just imagine the pure Black Queen energy that will be just radiant. Like, it will be, you wouldn't be able to stand it. If you walked into that room, you might like catch on fire from the Black Queen energy coming from that damn room.
That would be quite I would say that would be quite a confrontation that Amanda Waller would lose. Like I get it, and she's the top dog in any room she's in, but Queen Ramonda wins that fight. Like, without a doubt. You saw how commanding she was, how like no shit taking she was.
And plus Queen Ramonda can literally beat the shit out of most people.
Yes,
if she wanted
when she had that spear, I was like, yeah, she'll give it to you. And we know within the MCU, she actually used to be a Dora, at least within according to What If. But
What If is technically canon, so.
Well, I mean, we know historically, but the point here being that, again, I say, like, maybe maybe they had a bigger pop moment with Henry Cavill, but like that, I can't think of anything else where, even the fights where maybe there was a cool fight. Maybe one fighter was cooler than most of the fights in Wakanda Forever. I'll give you that. But man, that, I'm telling you, that fight between, like, Black Adam had a terrible villain. Like, its villains sucked. Because they weren't.
Yeah.
Really, that wasn't really the point of the movie. But maybe the fights were kind of cool. But like that fight between Namora and Shuri was ridiculous. That was crazy. So anyway, I'm belaboring the point. The point is no, just no. Black Panther's better. So agreed. Anyway, there's our first nerd fight. But let's keep talking about Black Adam. This whole that whole nerd fight thing made me think about Black Adam in general. Which again, I will reiterate, I liked the movie a lot. Like I really enjoyed it. Um, but you know what? Look, it's gonna lose money. It's gonna lose money for DC, straight up. Black Panther in its first weekend pretty much made as much money as Black Adam made in its whole run. And so let's look back at Black Adam. And I want to ask the question, Lottie, why didn't it hit? And why is it's going to lose money? Why? Why? This is a movie we both like. We think it's good. Even though it's got flaws, it's not a perfect movie by any means. It's got flaws, but we both like it and we think it's good. Why didn't it hit?
It's because this is the reason. DC has not been able to create a cinematic universe where it will gather a lot of people to watch characters that are not Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman to come to the theater. The only reason they made that 366 $66 million is because of The Rock. That is it. The Rock and the Henry Cavill leak. All that stuff where that one director is like, he's kind of furious that what's his name leaked it. You better be happy he leaked it, or this movie probably make even less money.
Yeah.
Because that's like, because it's just what it is. They haven't made a systematic They haven't made a universe, cinematic, not systematic, a cinematic universe that will make people come and watch a character like Black Adam. You know what I mean? No, like Shazam did well only because Shazam cost like 100 million to make. So that movie could have just went 400 million in the box office and it would have made its money back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this movie cost about almost 200 million. It needed to make at least 500 to 600 million to make its money back.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because the movie is bad. It's because it's not, nobody cares. Nobody cares about the DC universe. Like I was telling people, it's a good movie, and they're just like, "Oh, I'll wait till." I don't really know the character. I'll just wait till it comes on HBO, or But I'm pretty sure this movie will fucking break HBO. Like people like the day that it gets on HBO Max servers will be like fucked up. You know what I mean? Because
I mean, it could be. Like, you're not wrong. I don't think you're wrong about it. I I thought about it, and I think the main problem is that one of the main problems is related to what you're talking about the cinematic universe that no one cares about, right? And one of the main reasons why this movie did not pop the way it should have is because Dwayne Johnson foolishly insisted that Black Adam not be introduced in Shazam.
yeah,
The what people, I guess what they don't really understand at DC, what they haven't figured out yet, is that the MCU is like a domino, what do you call those? The domino lines, right?
yeah,
Where each one you knock the first one over and it tips into the next one and tips the next, and that momentum starts building up, and it's like those little pictures that are all made from dominoes that are set up, and they start unveiling the larger picture that started with that one domino. And to keep the analogy going, where's the domino that led into Black Adam? No one knew let me say, most comic book fans don't know who the fuck Black Adam is. Anyone who casually has read a comic book, most of them don't know who the fuck he is. Or if they do, they only sort of know him, right?
yeah.
Your average person who's just like, ooh, a superhero movie, but don't know anything. The ones that turn to you and say, "Who is that on the screen?" You know those people? They have zero clue who the fuck Black Adam is. They barely know who Shazam is, right? Only because he's had a movie. So they didn't do the most basic thing you need to do with these movies, which is give people a reason to have to fucking show up. And one of the reasons is, oh, I know that guy, right? Oh, I know that guy. Oh, that's the dude that Superman punched in that one movie, right? Because a lot of people saw Justice League. Oh, you know, so, that guy was in Aquaman or something like that, right? Not one of the movies. Wonder Woman didn't mention Black Adam. Aquaman didn't mention him. Justice League, Man of Steel, Shazam barely mentioned him, but he wasn't actually seen on screen, right? So they had zero setup for this guy, and so it's all about The Rock selling The Rock as this superhero, and it's not enough. It's not enough. Where you got so many people who have been trained by Marvel to wait for the setup, tee up the next thing, right? So I recognize that person. Oh, that's Amanda. No, they brought Amanda Waller in here. Is that the way you connect it? That's your connective tissue. You think Amanda Waller is Nick Fury. You know, Nick Fury he wasn't even enough of a connective tissue
as Iron Man.
As Iron Man was. When Iron Man started that's what I'm saying. Like, what are they thinking about over there? This is the reason why James Gunn and Peter Safran are so needed over there, to get their fucking heads out of their asses. Cause this shit should have been easy. It should have been easy. Have a stinger and fucking not Snyder Cut, in Justice League. Have a stinger in Suicide Squad. Have a stinger. You know what I'm saying? So people are like, oh shit, he's the next big bad, right? And they couldn't even do that. So I'm not surprised. No one knows who Black Adam is. He looks like maybe The Rock as Superman or something like that. I don't know. He's not fighting anyone. His villain, nobody knows who the fuck his villain is. They don't know the JSA. None of the people that were in this movie were from a previous movie. How are you expecting people to show up for it? This is what I'm saying. Like, they want the Marvel money. They don't want to do the Marvel work. And the Marvel work has to be at the end of, Wonder Woman, oh shit, Black Adam. At the end of Aquaman, oh shit, Black Adam, right? At the end of Suicide, at the end of Aquaman, oh man, who's this Suicide Squad, right? Oh, who? You know what I'm saying? They don't set up the domino. They want the big mosaic without having to set the dominoes up, and that's the problem, as far as I can see. So I hate it because I like this movie, and I think it's setting up. It's a domino standing on its own. That, like, maybe they do set the dominoes up, but they're so far away from each other they can't actually, knock each other over. So,
yeah.
Anyway, I think that's the issue. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if they can get their shit together with Peter Safran and James Gunn. Lastly, we got a last little bit of fun nerd stuff. All of the Marvel movies for Phase 4 have released as of Wakanda Forever is released. So I thought it might be fun that we sit back, look at all of them, and rank them, first to last. What was the best? What was the worst out of the Phase 4 Marvel movies? And this is the definitive list. It's the correct one. Any other list that ranks them otherwise is wrong. So don't listen to them. Just listen to us. So, all right, Ladi. So what we have to choose from for these is Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Thor Love and Thunder, and of course Wakanda Forever. So let's agree on this. What's the best movie of Phase 4?
Is this even a competition?
Well, actually, yeah. Well, you know what? let's start from the other way. What's the worst movie of Phase 4?
Is this even a competition? Eternals. Put that shit in the back. I'm sorry. It was.
I hate to say that too because I actually quite like Eternals, but I cannot deny it. You know what? I don't even think it's a bad movie. I think that it is a disappointing movie because
Yes.
I had super high hopes for it, and
Put it in the back.
it is unfortunately quite long, very long, and it doesn't have the villains aren't any good, even when you finally find out the real villain, but it does do a lot of cool stuff. I think the movie does a
Hmm.
lot of cool stuff with the Celestials and the Eternals and all that, but it doesn't. Another problem is it doesn't really quite explain the blip and all that other stuff. It doesn't explain what they're doing with the blip or anything. So yeah, that's the worst. So what's the second worst Marvel movie? Actually, you know what? We'll go back and forth. Uh, what's what would you say the second worst Marvel movie of Phase 4?
This is easy. I mean, well, this is not easy. I actually enjoyed this movie, but the absolute disrespect and obliteration of this character puts it at second worst. Put Black Widow down there. The
That's
the
yeah.
fact that you did Taskmaster like that, I'm sorry, you got to go down there. Ugh.
I will agree with you. Again, I quite liked Black Widow.
Yeah, me too.
I think the problem with Black Widow, besides Taskmaster, is as again a villain problem. The villain is kind of whatever. Like once you realize who it is, you're just like, oh, okay, he's
I
running.
literally forgot about him too.
He's
I literally forgot him.
it's basically just he's running a Black Widow. He's this dude running Black Widows as assassins. Okay, that's I guess.
And it felt weird. It felt so uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean
Like,
it's like watching Jessica Jones and the Purple Man and everything. But look, the villain was kind of whatever, and you ask yourself why is this happening now? Why didn't y'all make this before Endgame? This would have been great in the space between
this should have
Civil
this should have
War.
came out.
Yeah, it should have been awesome in the space between Civil War and Infinity War.
No, this should have came out during the gap of Infinity War because this was happening during the blip.
Well,
Oh, this happened before the blip.
This is pre-blip. This is post.
Oh, this is
Civil War.
pre-blip. Yeah, you're right.
But
You're right.
it
Right.
would have
Right.
fit
Right.
nicely within there because of we were still in the midst of the Captain America movies. They had just ended. Infinity War hadn't happened yet. All of the cosmic nuttiness of Thor hadn't happened. That would have been a great place to put it. It would have fit well, and would have made sense. But now it seems like a weird throwback, where again, it's not. We don't need earth-shattering things every time, but it's just not the villain's not that great. But the best thing about it is it does introduce some really cool characters. It introduces the widows, but also it introduces Yelena and and Red Guardian, who we're going to see later. And it's a decent little send off, but it's just not up to what we expect from Marvel at that point, especially not the first Phase 4 movie. Definitely not. So there we go. The next. So now we got the next worst movie of Phase 4. So now we have to choose from. We got Shang-Chi, Spider-Man, Multiverse of Madness, Thor: Love and Thunder, and Wakanda Forever.
Okay, this is starting to get a little tougher.
I know
But
I know what I'm gonna choose. Let me see what you say.
I'm gonna put Thor: Love and Thunder.
I think we're on the same page here, and I hate that too because I loved Ragnarok. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think that's correct. It's just like, and this isn't about this being a bad movie. It's about it being a disappointing movie. My expectations were in a certain place, and I tried to temper them, but they didn't quite meet up there. And it's about some of it's about tone, and some of it's about missed opportunity with Gore the God Butcher. You know, even though I do think that this movie did a lot of cool things with the character of Jane Foster, and introducing the kids of the Asgardians. I think it did some cool stuff with Thor kind of figuring himself out some more. He's not an idiot. He's not like you know he he's kind of finding his way after Endgame, but still, it's a little too silly. Am I right?
Yeah.
It's a little too silly. Um,
I feel like Thor's character took a major step back. And it just feels weird because I watched Ragnarok before this movie, and then I watched Infinity War, and then I just was like, what happened? Like, you know what I mean? It felt like Goku's character regression from Dragon Ball Z Goku to Super Goku. Like he went back to being a bumbling, like it felt like it was Goku from the beginning of Z again.
yeah, yeah, but I think are some aspects. I mean, Thor's a little smarter. He's a little more world wise, to the world and everything like that. And he gets to do some pretty cool things in there. And they had some fun like rom com elements. I mean, it's kind of playing with the form a little more, and it's very much a Taika Waititi thing where he's given a lot more free reign, and that's maybe not so good, but I'll take it. I think on balance, I really like the movie. It's a little sillier than maybe I wanted. So now we're getting to the tough ones. Actually, I think the next one's pretty easy. I don't know about you. I think Multiverse of Madness is the next
Yes.
one. Um, I and this is really because I think it's a missed opportunity more than anything else. Um,
Yes.
this is only the second Doctor Strange movie, and this movie doesn't feel like it's about Doctor Strange.
Yeah, Doctor Strange does not feel like the main character in his own movie. Like he feels like a side character.
Or at the very least, he's a facilitating character. But let me say, that isn't out of the character for the Doctor Strange character. You'd be surprised how often in the comics he is a facilitator and he's not really the central focus. When he does get his own book, yeah, but usually he's the guy that he's a convenience for the writers. And it felt weird for that to actually be what's going on within this movie. And even, I think even Benedict Cumberbatch sort of noted that because of what was going on in the movie, he couldn't really have a lot of character progression. There's a lot of cool ass shit going on, and it's very Sam Raimi, so some of it just doesn't quite work. Sam Raimi, for the most part, he gets it, but sometimes when he doesn't get it, boy, it fucking shows. And I think
Yeah.
in Multiverse of Madness, for the most part, he gets it. But there's some bits in there where he's just like, the whole Pizza Papa thing. I'm just like, that's a joke that you could have left out, and I'd have been fine.
Mhm.
I get you want Bruce Campbell to be in there, but write him a better fucking character. But there's a lot. I loved that they introduced America Chavez. I loved how Wanda went full on villain, like she went full on like slasher villain and shit, and then the pops of the Illuminati and everything. That was all cool, but I felt like there was no time for Stephen Strange to actually be a full character, and that sucks. So hopefully they'll do better in the next one. So now this is where I consider this to actually be tough. Now we're in the top three, right? So
I think you're going to disagree with me on this one.
well, because I'm sitting and thinking about this, and I know what my number one is.
Number one is quite obvious.
I know what number one is for me. So now it's who's number two and who's number three. So, this number two and number three is.
My number
I'm gonna
three.
say I hate to say this. I'm gonna say Shang-Chi.
I want to say Wakanda Forever is my number three.
Yeah, we're gonna So we're gonna have to come to an agreement about this. I think Wakanda Forever is my number one movie. And
Whoa.
I'll explain it. I'll explain it. I will explain it. So, so let's agree on number two. Uh, well, you know what? None of this is gonna work. Okay.
My
I,
number one is Spider-Man No Way Home.
okay. So I'm going to explain to you why I think Spider-Man No Way Home is not number one. I'm gonna explain to you why. My reasoning is take away Toby and Andrew, take them out of the equation, right? And just focus on just what Tom Holland is up to. Well, which by the way, I think Spider-Man No Way Home is the best out of the trilogy. But it in some ways relies a little too much on the pops of these cameo characters. And that's my main reason for knocking it down. Because if this is just a Tom Holland being Spider-Man having problems movie, it relies an awful lot on nostalgia. Like a lot. And it's so much so that, like I said, take Toby and Andrew out of it. At the end of the movie, if it's just him versus all of these people, is it really going to be as awesome as having all three of them? So it relies too much maybe on nostalgia for my liking. That said, I think that the setup for it is really good, and I also think that the whole Aunt May death scene that's really great, and him having to make that terrible choice at the end. But the whole setup for it is it's not just silly, it's unbelievable. It starts with an unbelievable premise, and then it just kind of expands on it, keeps on doubling down on it, and so that it ends with a big old Marvel ending that we expect, but it's still a bit unbelievable. I liked it. It's one of my favorite Marvel movies, but I can't give it the top mark. I just can't. So make your case.
The reason why what you were just saying about taking out Tobey Maguire and just being a Tom Holland movie, I feel that is one of the main reasons why the movie is number one for me. Because I feel like throughout all of the Tom Holland movies, Tom Holland Spider-Man was the only Spider-Man I've ever seen that never felt consequences for his actions. There was always a safe guard slash pillow. There's always been something that he'll make a dumbass mistake and somebody will bail him out. But finally in this movie, when he was doing dumb stuff, it finally came back to bite him. And Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, two characters, two Spider-Mans who probably have had it worse than almost any Spider-Man that we've seen on screen or in like anything like, TV shows, movies, games, or anything. They've had it the absolute worst because not only did they lose their best friends, they lost people they've truly cared about and loved, and they couldn't do anything about it. So they taught him what it meant, what the consequences of your actions, and not to allow it to get to you. Because Tom Holland's Spider-Man he never faced that before. Never faced that. That's why immediately after Aunt May dying, he said he keeps angry. He wants to kill everybody because he doesn't know how to experience it because he's a Spider-Man that never had to experience it. And I just find that so beautiful that the movie, because the whole movie was a movie of consequences. It shows there are consequences for your actions. And even though you found the greatest meta to basically fix your life, do you really want to put those people? Because you let's be honest, you ruined your friends. You almost ruined your friend's life because of your stupid decisions. You know what I mean? Do you? And that's one of the things that I love the most about the ending. And a lot of people didn't like it because it was a Deus Ex Machina that you couldn't that didn't work because the character was aware that literally if I didn't make this dumb decision, my friends would be in such a better place. It's about maybe it's better that they don't know who I am,
Right.
and that is just what makes it. That's what puts it number one for me.
I got you. No, I see what you're talking about. I'm not disagreeing with you. It just doesn't quite hit enough for me on that. But so we have this where we diverged. Number Spider-Man No Way Home number 3 for me. It's number 1 for you. So we
Yes,
agree Shang-Chi is number 2.
yeah. Shang Chi, in my opinion, is the second
Yeah,
best.
it's what a it's a great origin film. It's super centered on a very specific culture. Does a lot of cool things. Simu Liu is awesome. Uh, just the whole Ten Rings thing. All of the I think it could have done more to sort of incorporate itself into the MCU than it did. But I really liked. I mean, I just liked it. It's a fun movie. A good way to get a new character started, and totally deserved all the success it got. So, no more.
This Okay, I was just gonna say this movie has me looking at Paramount like got no fucking excuse. Give us a damn live action Avatar movie that's good. You got no excuse.
They do have a TV show coming, but yeah, it's I think they did it right. A martial arts movie within the MCU that was done well, and martial arts in the sense of like the fantasy martial arts, and
Yeah,
it was done well, and also it had just great actors all the way around, and one of the best damn fight scenes in Marvel history. So easy call for number 2.
yeah.
So I guess we need to talk about Wakanda Forever. Why it's number 3 for you and not why it's number 1 for me. Why is it
hmm
number 3 for you?
See, my thing about Wakanda Forever, it just the movie itself. It lost me in that long exposition. Maybe I need to see it again, and I mean see it again, not in theater. Actually, sit down and watch it. But that part, like it lost me. And once you lose my attention, it's kind of hard to get it back. And I felt like there was good parts of that movie where I was not invested in because of that super long exposition. I understand why they did it. I just think they could have done it a little bit better. I like I said, there was parts in Wakanda Forever that I really, really enjoyed. It's just for me, I was not entertained the whole time watching the movie like I was watching No Way Home and Shang-Chi. Like Shang-Chi, I was like, I'm super into kung fu movies, and Shang Chi was scratching an itch that I haven't had scratched in years. And Spider Man, I'm just a massive Spider Man fan, and of course, you know what I just explained to you is the reason why it was number one for me. I just felt like there were just parts of Wakanda Forever that just I just lost a little bit of like, dang man, I kind of wish, I kind of wish the exposition was a little bit shorter, explain what's going on with the I always want to call them the Atlanteans,
Yeah,
but I know they're not the
Telecans.
Atlanteans. The Talocan. They could have explained that a little bit better without it being so long. Because that scene, man, I mean, man, I felt like they could have cut 15 minutes off of it. And it lost me.
Yeah, no, I get it. I watched it a second time, and I was tired, so that wasn't a good thing. There are parts. Look, movie does drag in some spots, but it's hard to cut some of that stuff because it's literally explaining what's going on. I'm not a huge fan of exposition to move the story along, but like if they were actually going to show and not tell some of that shit that Namor was saying, it would have taken them much longer. So, I understand there. The movie is the second time around. The parts that don't quite work as well are a lot more obvious once you actually know the story. Like the first time I saw it, I was dialed in the whole time because like I was like, what's the story? What's going on? What's going on? The second time around, the stuff that doesn't quite work, and the funny thing, the stuff that doesn't work quite as well is the conventional Marvel shit. The so-called Marvel formula. The
Yeah.
you know, it unfortunately doesn't work quite as well. There and Ryan Coogler, intentionally, unintentionally, he's sort of tracing his own work, if you will, in this movie.
Yeah.
In several places, he's sort of redoing things he's already done before, and in a couple places, I know it's intentional, but the whole car chase, I'm like, yeah, is that a thing? Well, why would you do that? But the things that worked for me. Like I said, the things that didn't work quite as well are a little more obvious on the second viewing, but the things that are effective are even more effective the second time around. This movie, because it's number one to me, because it to me is one of the most emotionally mature movies the Marvel's ever done, if not the most. To me, it is a movie that required better acting than pretty much any other Marvel movie. It's dealt with heavier issues. It's talking about deeper themes. It's there's a lot more thought-provoking things going on within this movie than pretty much any Marvel movie can really or has ever really tried to wrestle with. And it's doing so on the back foot of not having Chadwick Boseman in it. And everyone steps up to the plate. The acting is like top-notch, among the best, if not. To me, this is the most well-acted movie the MCU's ever had. Straight up. It's probably got one of the best, scenes with Queen Ramonda when she's giving Okoye the business. And so, like, all of that stuff works. Namor is great. He's one of the best MCU. Like, this is a movie that has one of the best MCU villains. It has a return of a great MCU villain. Like everyone's just kind of showing up with their A game. They're not. No one's coming to play. They're coming to win. They're not screwing around. And I have to give it the top spot for that. It literally is just when it works phenomenally. And when it's not working so well, it's still about on par with most MCU things. And so to that end, there's no question to me that it is the movie that did the most heavy lifting. Had started on the back foot, like you said, you like Spider-Man, and fair enough, but Spider-Man No Way Home wasn't what didn't start on its back foot. It started,
Yeah.
if anything, it started with it had a running start. Wakanda Forever was on the back foot from the beginning because of Chadwick Boseman passing and having to change things up. And it still managed to tell a story that honored him, was super interesting, very moving, very emotionally well played, and still moved the ball down the field for the MCU and for the character itself to set up a next one. So it's number one to me. Like with that, it's not even close. It's not even a question. It's not even close to me. As much as I like Spider-Man, and Shang-Chi. So you know what? We got two divergent lists here, and that is okay. You guys pick which one you prefer, or maybe you just think you got a better list. You don't, but you can tell us all about it down in the comments section. Or you can hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. So, all right, that's everything for this week. But I can't do this. I can't do this by myself. I need my good friend Ladi to help me out. So, Ladi, where can they find you on social media?
Oh yeah, you can always find me when I'm not pimp slapping mosquitoes. You can always find me on my social media, which is my Instagram, which is Anukinihun. It's spelled ANUKINIHUN. Again, it's ANUKINIHUN. And of course, my YouTube channel, which is Kinihun25. I'm actually getting more active on YouTube for some reason. I guess people like shorts now. I mean, I'm just uploading shorts onto YouTube and they're getting like 100 views, and I'm just like, I put less work into these videos than I do a freaking, you know what I mean? Like a 40-minute video, I'm detailing you guys about a PC to buy. Ugh.
Attention
But
spans.
it's for the content.
Yeah.
It's for the content. So I'll continue to upload more and more stuff. So you guys can find it on there. Whenever you have a chance, leave a like, a subscribe, or a follow.
Yeah, you guys go check out Ladi's channel and his accounts and go show some love. All right, all you Fabricant and Fleshbags, thanks for joining us on the 76th episode of the Supercast. Come back next week. We got more to talk about. The Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special is going to be high on our minds, so it'll be a good time. Until then, I've been Mo De Pape, your resident Fabricant and comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend Ladi. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.
Peace.